Hello.
We back.
How's it going? Sorry about
Hi.
that. Okay. So
Okay, so we were talking about Nurk. We were talking about his words on the incident and Draymond Green. And I think, one, he's hilarious. Two, I think he's absolutely right. Like, something's going on with Draymond. He needs to work through
Well, and I like
some sort of anger issues.
I like that Nurk could be a guy that just goes in there and starts yelling and pounding the table. I mean, his nickname is the Bosnian Beast, but he tends to come in there with that sarcastic wink, wink. I know what's going on. You know what's going on. But, you know, I mean, that really was screw this guy in the most polite terms possible in a damn funny way.
Yeah.
And I like it, but he's right. There is something going on with Draymond Green. And I don't know if he's realizing he just doesn't have it anymore. So this is his way to have some kind of bizarre impact on the game or what, but it's problematic.
yeah, I would agree with that. I would agree. Like, I mean, I know Yusuf. I don't know if Yusuf was being, facetious or not, but I agree. I think Draymond really does need to seek some type of help because these outbursts are ridiculous. They're ridiculous.
So apparently there's a video of Draymond as well. I'm not going to watch the actual video. We can look at it later. But what was shared was that it's from Anthony Slater on Twitter. They said Draymond Green apologized to Yusuf Nurkic for swinging hit above the shoulders, but said it was unintentional and he was just trying to sell a foul. That's an aggressive way to sell a foul.
Well, that's not an apology.
It's not. It's an excuse.
I didn't really do it, but I guess I'm sorry because I got caught.
Yeah.
Right? That's not an apology. When you teach a child to apologize, you say apologize for what was done, and don't make excuses for it. That's just an excuse. The whole world saw it.
Yeah.
TNT showed us 60 million replays in slow motion. We know what happened. So don't lie to us. Don't look us in the face and say, well, I didn't really mean to. No, you did it. Own up to it. And that's part of the problem too. If you can't own up to it, you're not going to learn from it. You're just going to say, the next time, it wasn't, I didn't mean to kick him in the nuts. My leg just went up. Like there's always an excuse with Draymond Green.
Jeremy, I think, hits the nail on the head, trying to avoid a suspension.
100%.
Yeah. So there's that. A few more shenanigans from tonight's game, if you will. We saw Bol Bol in the first quarter of this game, you guys. I did not expect that at all.
I'm happy that we saw Bol Bol because I think there was a certain section of people that legitimately think that he was going to help us. I hope, but I don't think we need to see it anymore. Like he didn't do any. He got 2 rebounds, I think, and that was about it. Like he's just not that guy. He's not a viable NBA player. I don't know what else to say.
Hold on. He did other things. He lost his defender 3 different times. He had a foul when he shouldn't have even jumped because he's freaking 7'6" without lifting his arms up. And he's, 8.5 feet when he lifts his arms up and he didn't need to jump. Bol Bol proved exactly why Bol Bol has been glued to the bench this season. And that's where he needs to stay. I could not believe that people were still defending him. Somehow blaming the roster around him, blaming Frank Vogel, saying, well, he hasn't played. Yeah, he proved why he hasn't played. He looked like freaking Bambi on ice out there. I've seen enough of Sideshow Bol for a lifetime. I don't need to see any more.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to stop throwing shade at everybody right now, but that doesn't mean we can't wear our Shady Rays because our Shady Rays are elite sunglasses, and exclusively for all of you, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Just go to shadyrays.com, use code PHNX for 50% off 2 or more pairs of polarized sunglasses. So you can try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Also, if you are still unsure what to do for Christmas, Game Time is a really great place to look. They have last minute tickets at great prices available for games, concerts, shows, anything that you are wanting to see. You can snag tickets without the stress with Game Time. And nothing is better than planning an entire night out with your sweetheart for Christmas. I promise it'll be a hit. under the tree. You just get those tickets. You plan the whole thing. There you go. You got the best Christmas gift in town. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
I did just that for Christmas.
There you go.
The missus is in the chat, so I'm not going to say what I bought.
Smart.
But, and the best part, if it's a last minute gift, they send you the tickets. It's a digital transaction. So you're not waiting for anything. You just print it out. So
Right.
honestly, you could do it Christmas morning if you forgot.
You really could. Like, hey, last minute tickets. That's what we're all about, procrastination at times when it comes to Game Time, because you could get really good deals.
Last minute gift, last minute ticket.
I get
whatever
it.
takes.
Okay,
I mean,
so
real quick to go back to the Bol Bol. I don't know if people are being serious or not, but like they say we're being hard on the kid because he's still trying to find his way. He's been in the league for this is his 5th year. What do you want? Like, if you can't figure it out by year 5, you probably aren't going to figure it out. Am I wrong?
I'm not saying that he shouldn't play basketball anywhere ever again, but his place is not on a championship, a team that has championship aspirations and getting minutes to try to accomplish that. It's just not. You know, if he wants to go play for Detroit, go get 20 minutes on a team that can't win a game. That's fine. Like, but I'm saying in this situation, I don't need to see Bol Bol anymore.
Flex makes a great point. He says, Frank is lucky we won this game because if they didn't, it would have been because of those Bol Bol minutes that blew this game. 18-2 run came during the Bol Bol minutes.
Yeah.
Listen, it wasn't all on him, but again, you can see that he's lost. He doesn't really understand what he's supposed to be doing out there. He doesn't know where he's supposed to be in relation to the defense. There's one time where he looked like he was running straight to the corner to guard a guy, and then he just veered off left and went into the middle of the key, leaving the guy wide open for a 3, and he catched it in. I'm like, bro, that's you. That's your man.
Yeah.
And so it is what it is.
An
I'm not going to bury him.
18-2 run against you is just unbearable. I mean, you can't let that happen.
Yeah. It's just, listen, I wanted Bol Bol to find success here. I think that we all probably know by now that there's a good chance that won't happen. And I think it's just because we don't have room for error. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have the ability with what our goals are and what this team is set up to hopefully accomplish. We don't have the room to help somebody along and develop in that way.
Nope.
And if he can't do it during practice and get that down to know where he's supposed to be on the court, like, there's just not the ability for him to do it in a game is not there.
No, listen, I think there's 2 things at play. Number one, I think we all hoped that Bol would be able to show something in order to get on the court and help this team in some way, shape, or form. You know, we saw all the highlights about sometimes him just taking the ball full court and getting a dunk, and then the very next possession, him dribbling the ball out of bounds or, you know, throwing some kind of crazy pass. I would accept that, but we're not getting some of that. You know, we're not even getting the highs before we get the lows. It's just basically been one game of lows, and he's not seeing the court for a variety of different reasons, and it's probably because there's other players on this roster that they believe can contribute to a championship level team, is what they're hoping for. So yeah. I wished that he was going to be good. I really did, because I was on board the roller coaster, but I'm good. I got off the ride a long time ago. I'm ready to move on.
Made you a little dizzy?
Nicholas J says Bol needs more touches. I agree if he wants to develop, but it ain't going to happen here.
That's the problem.
Well, also, he's 7'6".
Yeah.
Go get your own touches.
Yeah.
But he can't.
All right. Couple super chats here from the last stream. Sorry about that, guys. Thanks for hopping over here. But we have one from Frank. Frank sent us one, and they said, Suns never lost a game Bol Bol played in this season. Oh, Frank.
They haven't lost a game that Booker and Beal played together.
Frank, you so silly. James sent us one. Thank you, James. James said, musician geek here. It's a trumpet solo, not sax. Love you guys. Keep up the great work. # Dubs trading Clay and Green at the deadline. Go Suns.
Nobody cares.
I mean, if we're gonna be technical, it's a muted trumpet. All right. So
But it's more fun to say the sexy sax.
It is
like,
a sexy sax, and it will
a
always be a
trumpet
sexy sax.
is
If I want to look at a trumpet and think it's a saxophone, then I will damn well do it.
It doesn't hit the same. James, you just gotta let us have this one.
Give me that sweet, sweet, sexy muted trumpet, baby.
You just
doesn't
gotta
work.
let us have this
Doesn't
one, James.
work.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. Mike Kafka sent us a couple. One here says, Nurk commented on Draymond Green foul, quote, I hope that whatever he's got going on in his life, it gets better. Brother needs a hug. Maybe he does just need a hug, honestly. There was one.
I don't think any of his teammates are not trying to pick him up and support him.
I think his
boost
teammates
him.
are done with him. Did you see the reaction of the bench when that happened? Everyone was like, okay, here we go again.
I mean,
I kind of think his teammates are done.
Yeah.
They're over it.
Really? I didn't see that.
Yeah, they're literally the whole reaction behind the bench was just like, here we
Oh,
go
you're talking
again.
about Draymond.
Yeah.
I was talking about Bol. My bad.
Oh,
No,
sorry,
we're
my
talking
bad.
about
He's
Draymond.
I was like,
Draymond.
damn, they really did that to Bol?
No,
That's
we're talking
fucked
about
up.
Draymond right now.
I was like, you gotta support your guy.
That's what he's talking about.
My bad.
Okay, Mike Kafka sent us two more, and they said, I think Metu and Grayson Allen are interchangeable depending on what you need on a given night.
Did he quote Saul on that?
I mean, Saul did talk about that, so you guys are on the same page there. They also sent us one more. Mike Kafka, shout out to you for all the super chats. We appreciate you. Said, soft, bouncy, delicious cannabis gummies. Learn more. Our story. Hey, we're OGs.
Good ad read.
Somebody in the chat up above just said, Ted Offensive said, Bol Bol getting the residual DA hate. No, he isn't. No, he's not. No, he's not getting any residual DA hate.
I don't think it has anything to do with DA.
It has zero to do with it.
How is it? I don't even. Okay, anyway.
I think the reason why people are maybe starting. Okay, initially when Bol Bol was on the team, I think everyone was excited because there was a lot of potential upside there. I think now that we have gone through injuries, we've seen what our team looks like. People are looking at that spot and saying, we could probably utilize that spot for someone who can bring something that our team kind of needs right now. Mm-hmm. We could utilize that spot for somebody who's actually potentially going to get minutes, especially when we have to deal with injuries. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why Bol Bol is kind of on the outskirts right now with a lot of people because they see it as an opportunity for the team to get better. And we're clearly not tapping into Bol Bol, so we may as well utilize it for somebody who maybe will help our team.
You know what else we can utilize?
What?
Hit it.
Darkness. Beyond the light, there shall only be one. Welcome,
Welcoming in Gerald Bourguet from the Footprint Center, of course, writer over at GoPHNX.com. What's up, Gerald? How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Not too shabby.
That didn't sound convincing, Gerald.
Yeah, you seem like you're on the ropes right now, Gerald. Why?
No, there's just a lot of post-game comments to digest, as I'm sure you guys are aware from some of the things I've sent you already. Yes. A lot of people had a lot of things to say after this game, that's for sure.
What was the biggest takeaway?
Yeah, tell us all of it.
People are kind of sick of Draymond Green shit. It's very blatantly obvious that they respect what he brings to the table as a defender. I talked to Frank Vogel about it before the game, and he called him one of the best defenders to ever do it. But, you know, after the game, after a cheap shot like that was pretty, uncalled for, you know, he said it's a reckless and dangerous play. It's something that the refs did what they had to do, and now the league needs to do what it is supposed to do. You know, we heard from Yusuf Nurkic, his little digs at Draymond and saying that he was glad that he didn't try to choke him and all of that stuff. And more seriously saying that I hope whatever's going on with him, he gets some help. And, you know, we talked to Chimezie Metu in the locker room. He was saying it's just ridiculous at this point. The league needs to do something about it. You know, Devin Booker was saying that he's a top competitor who wears his emotions on his sleeve, but it got out of hand. This is one of Draymond's friends that is saying that about him now. So it's kind of one of those things where at a certain point, the league needs to come down with a much harsher penalty than the last time, which was, 5 or 6 games for choking another player. It's just with his track record and the amount of times this has happened, a post-game apology in his post-game presser just isn't going to cut it.
Yeah. So we got a super chat around this, so I'll open it up to the entire group since we're talking about Draymond right now. Alec sent us one. Thank you, Alec. We appreciate you. Said, I disagree, re Draymond, especially with the language comparing him to a child. People love to hate on Draymond because he's outspoken. He's made some bad choices, but it's like fans wait to pounce on him.
No, I disagree with that completely. Like, listen, you are a result of your actions, straight up. And this isn't just a loud player who's very demonstrative, but he doesn't do any cheap shot stuff, right? He's literally physically trying to hurt players. He tried to kick LeBron in the balls during the NBA Finals. He just tried to choke out Rudy Gobert. He swung and hit Yusuf Nurkic, and the list goes on and on and on. He is setting himself up for failure. And I get like waiting to pounce on. I think there are certain players that the media and fans are waiting to pounce on, i.e., Russell Westbrook is a clear example. But Russell Westbrook isn't out there trying to hurt other players. And so it's a different category completely. Draymond's fantastic when he's locked in defensively and doing all the little intangibles that the Warriors need. But let's not make this like, oh, he's just a victim here because of his circumstances. No, he's an absolute detriment to the game.
So I think when it comes to what Draymond says, like on his podcast and things like that, like, you do you. Say whatever you want to say. I have no problem with that. I think when it crosses the line into non-basketball, physical, let's call it what it is, kind of to an extent, violence, especially in a lot of these situations, that's where the line gets drawn. And it's no longer like we're looking for Draymond and reasons to be mad at him. It's Draymond did the wrong thing and he shouldn't do it. When it comes to what he says on his podcast and who he wants to talk smack to, that's totally fine. He can do all of that. But he can't go around putting people in chokeholds and punching them and hitting them. You just can't do that.
Well, like I said earlier, I actually think it's the reverse. I think the way he talks in the media, the way he does his podcast actually makes him more likable. It's probably giving him the benefit of the doubt more than we would have otherwise. Yeah. And that his actions have led to this, because the first handful of times these things happened, it was like, oh, Draymond out there. And now it's like we're 5, 6, 7 incidents in, and you're like, okay, this is getting really out of hand. Pattern. I mean, was that the feeling you got in talking to everybody too, Gerald, that it was just, we're at a point where this is beyond giving somebody a pass?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, at a certain point when you have the track record that he has, it can't just be, oh, people are waiting to pile on him. Like, I'm one of Draymond Green's biggest fans as a basketball player. I think he, outside of like Scottie Pippen and Dennis Rodman, is the best defender that I've ever seen, just because of his versatility, his basketball mind. I loved his competitive fire. I loved watching him, trash talk everybody when the Warriors were at their peak. But it's gotten harder and harder to defend him and be a fan of him because of these types of incidents. And he does bring it upon himself. He said after the game, he was trying to exaggerate a foul and he didn't mean to hit him that high. He was aiming lower, but like, what are you doing aiming at all? Like, why are you flailing your arms like that in a basketball game at all? It's a dangerous play. It's a reckless play. And given his track record, he doesn't deserve the benefit of the doubt. This is not a situation where we're just waiting to pile on. We're waiting for you to show us and remind us why we fell in love with your game and your trash talking in the first place. And you keep hitting us with sucker punches. So it is what it is at this point.
Also, like the fact that he was trying to sell a foul because his jersey was getting grabbed. Okay, cool. Why don't you watch Devin Booker in every single game coming off of a screen with the defender just absolutely holding on for dear life behind him? Like, he does it, and you never see Devin Booker swing at a guy like that. Like, this is ridiculous. It's just absolutely ridiculous. Other than that, though, Gerald, let's talk about the good of tonight. Chimezie Metu had a fantastic game. I thought he was brilliant from the perimeter, gave the Suns a much-needed boost on the scoring. And in addition, he was basically the reason why I felt the Warriors had to come out of that double team when every time Booker would cross half court, because Chimezie hit some crucial three-pointers to kind of keep the Warriors honest. What say you, and what did the team say about Shemezi's performance tonight?
Yeah, it was kind of funny. Frank Vogel mentioned that first three that he shot, the air ball, as a mulligan. And he said after he got that one out of the way, he was great the rest of the night with the way he was able to spread the floor. He said he's been playing good minutes for us recently. And so he wanted to reward that, kind of look at how he looks in the starting lineup at that 4 spot. He's been pretty consistent in saying that he's going to give everyone a chance. I know I've brought this up in the past before. But there were a lot of people questioning, okay, why wasn't Metu playing earlier? Why is Bol Bol getting minutes? Why isn't KBD playing? Well, it's consistent with what we've been saying all along. He's going to try different things. He's going to experiment with different things. And people love that when their player is the one that's getting those minutes. But when it's somebody else, it's what is he thinking? Why is he doing this? And I just want to remind people of that because I know under Monty, one of the biggest complaints was he loves his guys and these other guys don't get a chance. Monty never experiments. Well, that's what Vogel's doing with a pretty brand new lineup, a lot of bench guys that haven't been able to get set in their roles because the guys ahead of them that are going to be leading the charge haven't been there all season. So Metu was great. I talked to him in the locker room and he was talking about just his approach. He had said the other day something that was kind of sad because we had asked him about the staying ready thing, the cliche thing that you ask every guy in that situation. And he was saying, like, sadly, to this point in my career, that's kind of been what it is. Like, I've had to adapt that mindset because I've gone from playing minutes to not playing minutes to being all over the rotation to having to fight to keep my career alive. And so for him, like, he hasn't changed anything with his approach here in Phoenix. He's stayed consistent. He was thanking the filmed guys that, show up with him and help walk him through certain things that he can improve. And he felt like that really helped him for this game in particular. So hopefully, Metu continues to impress and is able to work his way into the rotation once everybody's back, because right now we're still not whole, still without KD, still without Grayson. That's going to knock a few guys down in the pecking order. But what Metu's shown on both ends, the athleticism, the vertical spacing, and the three-point shot, if that can hold true, those are all things that can help, whether he's off the bench or a starter, wherever he's going to get his minutes.
One of the things that I think is cool about Shemezi that we haven't really touched on is that when you look at championship teams of the past, there's always that one guy that kind of surprised everybody heading into either that year, all year long, or heading into the playoffs. Last year, you could probably point to like Bruce Brown for the Nuggets. The year before that, you could probably point to Gary Payton the second when on the Warriors and how much juice he provided off the bench. When you look at Shemezi Metu, I can see he's one of the few players on this roster that I could see develop enough to be a significant factor when we get towards the end of the season. Am I just seeing things with rose-colored flex glasses, or am I correct?
I mean, you could be correct. I think for right now, the Suns still have a lot of maybes in terms of their playoff rotation. But I will say one guy that has kind of risen above that maybe category, for me at least, is Jordan Goodwin, based on what we've seen from him the last handful of games, tonight in particular. I think he had 16, 6, 5, and 2 steals on top of that. He had made a couple of big plays, that one loose ball that he came up with that he got Devin Booker, the reverse dunk, that kind of helped them build that run to push the lead open, which they needed every bit of it because of the way they played down the stretch. Those plays were huge. Frank Vogel called him invaluable on both ends, especially having to guard Steph Curry and step in for Josh Okogie. Okogie, we got an update. I don't know if you guys covered it yet, but he did have a right hip injury, and they're not sure he's going to be able to play tomorrow. We'll wait for his official status, but something to keep an eye on because he was a knockdown three-point shooter tonight. But I will say Jordan Goodwin has really impressed me on both ends in terms of what he's able to do. He's not afraid to take shots, which is huge. And I think he's going to be a guy that is going to cement himself as part of that playoff rotation.
Speaking of tomorrow, any indication on how Bradley Beal was feeling after tonight's game? What was the reaction to his first game back with the team?
Yeah, he said his back is feeling good, and Vogel had said before the game the plan with Beal is to play him tomorrow, which is hopefully a good sign of where his back is at after being out for a month and doing his due diligence to come back at 100%. He seems kind of weary of these same questions, treating his return like this big event. And he was saying, like, look, guys, I'm in year 12. It's not going to be much different than what you've seen the last 11 years. I just need to get my win back, and get back in the groove, get, acclimated with all of these new guys that I'm playing with, since tonight was only his fourth game. But Devin Booker was talking a lot about what he's able to do off the ball. We saw a lot of split cuts, a lot of him cutting off the ball and getting to his spots with curls. And that type of off-ball activity is huge, especially if we're, following this line of thinking that Devin Booker is going to remain the primary ball handler. We saw them throw multiple traps at him, and Booker actually have better outlets, generating a lot of those wide open threes we saw all night, the ones that Mezzi was knocking down, that Okogie was hitting early. So having Beal out there, just one other guy, makes a huge difference on the spacing and the quality of looks they're getting. If you throw Kevin Durant into that mix, we're going to see something special here, hopefully in the near future.
Did Beal have any comment on the biggest thing of the evening? He won me my first bet since, like,
oh my God,
God
Gerald,
knows
did
when.
you hear about this from Twitter?
I bet
did.
on that first basket at plus 3,500. Please, when you see Bradley Beal next, shake his hand and thank him for it.
Gerald, listen.
It was actually really funny because he did talk about that. He was asked when he kind of started to feel comfortable out there shaking the rust off, and he said, as soon as I hit my first shot, he was saying, he wasn't a big fan of his first shot being a three, but he said, I was wide ass open, so I had to take it.
Dude,
I
thought you were just about to say, actually, he did bring up Espo's bet in the post game or something. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, he saw it on Twitter and said, that guy is just freaking brilliant.
Gerald, he's winning right now.
That's how big of a
That
swing
is crazy.
Look at this.
All it takes is one.
Look at this, Gerald. This is the worst shenanigans that we've had to deal with. So I lost, Saul lost, Flex lost, but Espo won at $360 tonight. He's got $182.50 to his name now. And I only have $127.88.
I'm in the lead. Can you drop
crazy.
the banner again, Eric? Let's celebrate.
This is garbage.
Oh, you're right. All right. Well, we had a banner for me winning, but we'll have that again later. So that's fine.
Oh, well, we don't need your banner, Espo. Listen, you've gloated enough on this program.
Oh, I have not gloated enough.
I'm just kidding.
No. Just wait till tomorrow's pregame. There's gloating to be done for a while.
Oh, man, I'm sure there is. All right, one last super chat, and then we're all going to get out of here. Unidentified 21 sent us one and said, feels like Draymond has just gotten carried away with his antics because he's aging and can't contribute as much on the court. Very well could be a possibility that he's having a hard time coping with the fact that the Warriors are not what the Warriors once were, and he may not be what he once was. And this could be his reaction to it.
It's got to be tough. I'm not defending Draymond by any stretch of the imagination, but, let's just say from Steph's point of view as well. Like, it's got to be tough knowing that you aren't where you used to be, and things are starting to slide away. The rest of the league is getting better, and some difficult decisions are in front of you. Listen, Klay Thompson being traded isn't out of the realm of possibility. Draymond being traded isn't out of the realm of possibility. I mean, basically everybody on that roster, not named Steph Curry, is available, I should say, out there, because the run is over. And I think most people know that. And there's a certain section of people that I'm sure are holding on, saying, well, they've started off before pretty rough and then they figured it out. But when I'm watching this team, I don't see it. I just don't see it anymore.
Hey, Draymond, get the rocking chair, put on the Depends, and leave everybody else alone. If you're aging and you're angry about it, that's not our problem. That's not Yusuf Nurkic's problem. That's your problem. So stop acting out like a petulant child.
Gerald, any final thoughts on Draymond or anything else that you had from tonight's game?
Nope, hard to come back from that one.
I know, right? I was trying to I needed a lifeline, Gerald. That's what I was calling you. I was phoning a friend. But I get it, because I'm the same. Well, thank you guys for all joining us. We appreciate you. Don't forget, you can read Gerald's stuff over at gophnx.com. He writes amazing articles all about the Suns. You can also give him a follow on social at Gerald Bourguet.
Gerald, are you going to the Nets shoot around tomorrow?
I am. It's going to be a late night and an early turnaround, but yes, I will be there.
Okay. Are you excited to see your boys come back to town?
I am. It'll be nice. I think tomorrow will be a fun game before it begins, and then once it starts, I think it's going to be a heated affair. Book was actually asked about how often Mikal used to guard him in practice, and he said, "Oh yeah, pretty often." So I'm ready for him tomorrow. So it should be a fun matchup.
I pondered having a shirt made for this tremendous occasion that I know so many people are so ready for. It was going to be Mikal and Cam on my shirt with red X's over both of them, and then say they don't play for my team. That's it. That's all I was gonna say.
Hater.
I'm not a hater.
Of course you're that guy. Of course you're that guy.
Gerald, did you prepare your own tribute videos for the Twins? Just clips of you interviewing them over the last handful of years with some Sarah McLachlan under it.
Oh.
No, I was assuming Eric would do that, so I'm going to leave that in his capable hands.
You heard the man.
I'm not making that till you ask Book about chocolate ice cream, and you know it.
Fair enough.
Hey, Cam.
All right. Well, we'll be back tomorrow. Pre-game at 6:30, and then of course post-game as well. We'll have all the updates from net shoot around from Gerald for you guys. But like I said, you can follow Gerald at Gerald Bourguet. You can follow the show at PHNX_Suns. You can follow me, Lindsay Smith AZ. You can follow Saul at Saul_Bookman. And you can follow Espo at Espo. Espo, take us home.
Become a diehard because I'm starting a brand new betting series where you can get rich or lose everything. Ahoy, hoy!
We all silly like the mayor.